Jake Paul and Mike Tyson now have been suspended from boxing after controversial fight in Texas.
Mike Tyson and Jake Paul have been suspended from boxing following their contentious bout with Texas. Since Mike Tyson and Jake Paul have committed the ultimate sin of defrauding the most ardent sports boxing fans who aren't willing to part with millions of dollars while performing what many consider to be a staged spectacle, they were recently banned from boxing for life.
The whole thing was scripted. The whole thing was just a money grab. And for a lot of us that love Mike,
believe that the entire situation was staged and was only a money grab. For many of us who love Mike, Tyson may not be too affected because he is retired anyhow, but Jake is in serious trouble. His entire career is on the verge of collapsing, and there isn't much he can do about it. This so-called victory came with a cost that he wasn't prepared to pay, and the damage is already done.
Tyson versus Jake Paul just got Netflix sued.
Mike Tion versus Jake, we are watching Paul attempt to rebuild his damaged reputation after Netflix sued him. It's a typical case of whining about a lost opportunity, but the jug is empty and no one is left to care.
Many are upset over the Jake Paul and Mike Tyson fight, with some people claiming that it was rigged because many people bet a lot of money and they lost a lot of money. Allegedly, there's this script that got leaked showing how the fight was supposed to go down between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul.
Many people are upset about the fight between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul, and some people are saying that it was rigged because they bet a lot of money and lost a lot of money. According to some, a script that was leaked shows how the fight between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul was supposed to go. Okay, let's cut the nonsense and get to the real fallout. Everyone knows that Tyson and Jake Paul's fight was staged, but the aftermath is even more repulsive than Jake's phony victory grin behind the scenes. Brands that once featured Tyson's face on energy drinks and Jake on expensive merchandise are suddenly pulling their plugs faster than you can say career suicide. They are doing this as if it were a publicity stunt.
the whole thing was scripted. The whole thing was just a money grab. And for a lot of us that love Mike, and despite what he said in that interview with the girl about the legacy, we love him and his legacy, and we didn't like what we saw last.
Fans are demanding refunds, dragging Tyson and Jake through the mud on every platform imaginable. This isn't just a slap on the wrist, it's a full-blown career obliteration for Jake and a giant asterisk on Tyson's legacy. The entire thing was scripted, and it was just a money grab. And for many of us who love Mick, and despite what he said in that interview with the girl about the legacy, we love him and his legacy, and we didn't like what we saw last night. They're also changing the rules to avoid another catastrophe.
Jake Paul, Mike Tyson fight.
Interesting.
Script.
How so? What do you mean by
It's just
script?
weird. It's just
Like
Mike-
scripted in what way?
no, I don't know. I actually really like Jake Paul. It just seems so. It's odd, bro.
The timing. It's a timing.
I mean,
He
it's
fights
obviously
two-
odd.
No, he fights two no names, beats them
The
both.
script for the Jake Paul vs. Tyson fight is interesting. How do you mean by weird? It's just scripted in what way? I don't know, but I really like Jake Paul. It just seems like it's odd bro timing. I mean, it's obviously odd that he fights two no names and beats them both. If you're wondering how the boxing community handled the news, here's a spoiler: fans, analysts, and even the governing bodies became extremely upset, leaving Tyson and Paul's careers in ruins.
Averaging more punches than he did in that fight with McBride and in the exhibition against Roy Jones, where he averaged 24 punches around.
Like I said, I don't like that they keep messing with their mouthpiece.
I don't like that Tyson is throwing more punches than he did in the exhibition contest against Roy Jones, where he averaged 24 punches. The alarm bells screamed loudly as soon as the match began. A toddler wouldn't be frightened by Tyson's fists, which are known for their brutal force. In response, boxing's self-described new face, Jake Paul, stumbled about the ring as if he were trying out for a slapstick film. Jake Paul
and Mike Tyson now have been suspended from boxing after controversial fight in Texas. Now, why, you may ask? Now, I didn't know this.
After a contentious battle in Texas, Mike Tyson was suspended from boxing. Why, you ask? I was unaware of this, but fans quickly saw the inflated responses. While Tyson's alleged blows appeared more like light pats, Paul was knocked down by what could only be characterized as a phantom punch. Every punch, every blunder, and every false was part of a staged bout. Grimace said, "This is staged, and it was difficult for them to accept what they were witnessing."
Fight like 2 days in a row.
Wasn't the Tyson Jake fight, wasn't that amazing?
Yeah. It's amazing they got paid so much money.
You are incapable of fighting for 2 days in a succession, and the Tyson-Jake battle wasn't particularly impressive. Yes, it's incredible that they received such a large payment from fans who spent their hard-earned cash on tickets and pay-per-view. The promise of a real battle between a legend and a rising star was diminished to a circus act, and the backflash was relentless and instantaneous. It seemed like a robbery in broad daylight.
At any point, did you start to take your foot off the gas just a little bit because you noticed he was tiring out?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely a bit. You know, I wanted to give the fans a show, but I didn't want to hurt someone that didn't need to be hurt.
Did you ever start to slow down a little bit because you realized he was becoming tired? Yes, definitely a little. I wanted to entertain the spectators, but I didn't want to bring unnecessary pain to someone. Many diehard fans of Mike Tyson, a man whose career once stood as a pillar of credibility in the boxing world, were particularly devastated. They found it hard to believe that the same fighter who dominated the heavyweight division with iron fist would resort to something as absurd as a staged boxing match.
People expect it. You know, Mike's almost 60 years old. He's Mike Tyson, but he's 60 years old. And he knew that Jake Paul couldn't do anything to him. So you knew what you were going to get.
I'm not sure what people anticipated, but Mike Tyson is approaching 60 years old, and he knew that Jake Paul couldn't harm him. So you knew what you were getting. Jake Paul's fan base, which was already made up of both skeptics and loyalists, wasn't any younger. His supporters may have previously put up with his antics.
See, Mike Tyson could have knocked him out there. Jake Paul's chin was wide open.
But a staged altercation was the final straw, and social media became a battleground for memes, insults, and demands for reimbursements. He could have been knocked out there by Mike Tyson. Jack, when boxing officials finally intervened, Paul's chin was bared. Their response was as dramatic as the fight itself. Tyson and Paul were both given lifetime bans. Yes, neither of them will ever be allowed to enter a professional boxing ring again. And the decision was swift and harsh, calling the bout a disgrace to the sport.
Last night seemed like something that very much tarnished his legacy for a little bit of bread.
The boxing governing bodies made it clear in their official statement that this was not just about Tyson and Paul. The staged fight had damaged the sport's already shaky credibility and endangered its reputation globally. They needed to set an example out of these two, and boy, did they succeed. What we witnessed last night seemed to have seriously damaged his legacy.
He wasn't even good at the end. And now he's 58 and he's been living the kind of life he's been living. How's he going to have a chance? I'm putting everything on Paul. I'm laying 180. I think it was 180 he was getting. It was I think it went up to minus 220, whatever. But it was minus 180. I'm putting everything on.
At the end, he wasn't even good. And now that he's 58 and living the life he has, how will he have a chance? How's he? I'm blaming everything on Paul. I'm laying 180. I believe it was 180. I think it was 2. I think it went up to minus 220, whatever. But it was minus 180. This scandal is nothing short of disastrous. This was a man whose name carried weight not only in the ring, but also in the cultural zeitgeist. He wasn't just a boxer, he was a living legend, an icon, and a brand. Now, his once unblemished legacy is rife with doubts. Fans are wondering if his career was as genuine as it appeared, if other matches would have been staged, or if this was a one-time error.
In the pocket, goes low and gets in, and he did that and had a clear opening on Jake, and Jake went like this, and Mike just didn't hit him, and that's the video I'm seeing everywhere, but I remember in the moment.
Show me that. That's the video I see everywhere. But I remember in the show that after he got into the pocket, dropped low, and got in, he had a clear opportunity on Jake, and Jake ran like this, and Mike just didn't touch him. Paul, who up until this planned altercation backfired on him, nevertheless managed to convert controversy into a career. Although Paul's transition from YouTube joker to professional fighter was already viewed with suspicion, he has continued to profit from the spotlight to this day.
Tyson requested the 2-minute rounds, wanting to see more action. He just landed the overhand right, testing the beer.
The backlash from this fiasco has left Tyson's career in ruin. Sponsors have pulled out, fans have abandoned him, and even casual viewers who may have watched for the spectacle are abandoning someone like Paul, whose entire business model depends on being in the public eye. Tyson asked to watch the 2 rounds because he wanted to see more action, but he just landed the overhand right, testing the beard.
Friday's big ringside fight could be heading to court. A Florida man has filed a $50 million lawsuit against Netflix claiming breach of contract.
The major ringside altercation from last Friday may be going to court. A Florida man has sued Netflix for $50 million, alleging breach of contract. If you thought the lifetime ban was awful, wait till you hear about the financial consequences. Fans are not only upset, they are suing, and many are asking for reimbursements for what they say was deceptive advertising. After all, they paid to watch a real fight, not a badly staged show.
In breaking news, streaming giant Netflix is being issued a class action in relation to the Mike Tyson and Jake Paul fight.
The massive streaming service Netflix has been hit with a class action lawsuit over the Mike Tyson and Jake Paul fight. Advertisers are also circling with their lawyers, and brands that spent millions on the event are upset about the negative publicity and want to recoup their losses. For Tyson, this could mean losing a portion of his fortune, and for Paul, whose wealth is linked to his image, the financial fallout could be disastrous.
I think it's more of just like they agreed to.
It's a show fight.
It's a
This
show
is kind of
fight.
what they do.
Yeah.
It's the same thing when Mayweather
wrestling.
fought Logan. It was like obvious. But yeah, I mean, listen, Mike Tyson's old as fuck. And I think you're right. They decided that, because I don't think Mike was ever going to hurt Jake.
Dan, I believe it's more like they agreed that it would be a show fight, which is what they do. This was also evident when Mayweather faced Logan. But listen, the sport of boxing has always been plagued by rumors of corruption and rigged matches. But this staged fight has escalated those suspicions to a new level. If even a legendary fighter like Paul and a legendary fighter like Tyson are involved in staging fights,
X has spoken. The fight was scripted. Everyone is talking about this on X, and the script was actually leaked on X a few days.
How can fans trust anything anymore? Mike Tyson is old as __, and I believe you're right that they decided not that day because Mike was. I don't think Mike was ever going to hurt Jake.
And one reason only, and that is the money. He's getting paid so much money to do this. So that tells me he's getting bought. So again, it is sad that someone like Mike...
The boxing governing bodies are currently under tremendous pressure to restore faith in the sport. Stricter rules, greater transparency, and harsher penalties for violations are being proposed. But will this be enough? X has stated that the fight was scripted, and everyone is talking about it on X. The script was actually leaked on X a few days ago.
Just got Netflix sued. People got big problems.
It is sad that someone like Tyson at the center of this disaster is the fans who are the lifeblood of the sport. They are the ones who purchase the tickets, watch the fights, and keep boxing alive, and now they are demanding answers. There is only one reason, and that is the money. He is getting paid a lot of money to do this, which tells me he is being bought.
28-year-old kid who, used to be a YouTuber, and he's worked hard to learn boxing. He really has. He's come along, but really, he's still not of that level.
PA recently received a Netflix suit, and there is a serious issue. Fans feel humiliated, deceived, and mistreated, and who can blame them when a sport's integrity is compromised? The indignation isn't just about the staged fight itself. The individuals who lose the most are those who invest the most in it. If there's a bright side to this catastrophe, it's that it serves as a warning. A 28-year-old guy.
The thing was scripted. The whole thing was just a money grab. And for a lot of us that love Mike, and despite what he said in that interview with the girl about the legacy, we love him and his legacy. And we didn't like what we saw last night. What we saw last night seemed like something that